Hello and welcome to the Chilled Cardano podcast. I am Illinois with my guest host, Chilled Cardano. How's it going?
It's going pretty well,
You're
Eric.
not a guest host, you're more of a co-host, but I'll call you my guest host this week.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Episode 37, I think. So one of these days I'm going to get that right. But Mike, looking at the charts this week, we saw a little bit of bullishness. Can you see my screen here?
I can see it, Eric.
Fantastic. So as you can see, we were kind of in this valley right here. And we had one big push last week, and then on Saturday we had like a giant green candle, and that kind of got like retraced down. I have a resistance line at 41.29, and it seems like it tried to push up past that and just got knocked back down. So we're still struggling with that. I think all we saw was just like we just kind of came back to where we were after this dump. So I'm not too bullish yet, but it was nice to see us come back from that. The S&P had some good days, but I kind of just feel like it's like one of these where we have a few good days or weeks, and then it gets dumped even further. So I don't know. I'm not getting excited yet, but maybe you can make a little bit of money off of trading that. I don't know if you wanted to. What do you think?
Yeah, I think in this market structure, it kind of depends on what kind of trader you are and like what your overall outlook is. Because if you're more of a long-term investor, you might want to just actually chill and like save your shekels for like later down the road when the prices come back down. But if you're like trying to make money, I think like it kind of just depends if you're trying to save money or if you're trying to like increase the amount of money that you have in these ecosystems like Cardano, where because of like this influx of liquidity all of a sudden that we have, that things are going to start popping off. So it's like if you're in it and you're watching stuff like NFTs and DeFi, you're starting to notice things start to move and start to trend. And I think like this is a really great time, not financial advice, but to start playing around with some of this stuff, the casino, if you will, of crypto, because there's money to be made here. So if you could follow some of these trends, I think right now is a really good time to try to make some more ADA for yourself for the long haul.
I think the thing that some people do that is kind of a mistake is like, say you have an NFT and it was like, it popped or something, it had a really good day, and then it starts coming down, and then you see like ADA's price goes up like 10%. A lot of times people will sell the NFT like at like its lowest point, basically.
Yeah.
Because they see ADA going up, and then they're like chasing that, thinking like, oh, I'm losing ADA or something. But I think when you do that, you just like lose your NFT value. If you believe in the NFT like long term, I think it's better to hold on to it, because then you're just selling it off and that at its lowest point, and then right when you do that, ADA starts coming back down, and then you lose out on the value of the NFT. Whereas I think the smart thing to do is like, if you believe in the ecosystem, hold on to your NFT or token or whatever if you believe in it long term, and don't just freak out every time ADA pumps, because it's going to be like, it's like a long term trend. You shouldn't make decisions based off one big candle.
Yeah.
And I think if you're in the ecosystem, like it doesn't really matter if ADA goes up, like unless you're planning to sell the NFT, get out of ADA and just hold the cash, like that's a different thing, I guess. But I think everything is good for the ecosystem when ADA goes up. Like even though in the short term everything might go down, but if you wait a little bit longer, you might see everything go back up because people see ADA's price is up long term, and then more money flows in to the ecosystem. So, I mean, that's my philosophy on it lately.
Yeah. I like that idea. I like that thought process.
And I'm not just saying that like to pump my own bags either.
No, I think it's like sometimes you kind of want to hear other people's perspectives on how like this is playing out, just to see like it's all human intuition, it's all like human behavior, right? So you can't just trust your own opinion. Sometimes you need to listen to other people's, and then that way you get like an amalgamation of like, especially if like you're hanging out with like really smart people, like I consider you pretty smart. That's why I like hanging out with you, Eric. But
also, you're my brother, so you kind of have to. But
yeah, we've had some good trades here and there, though. Like we've made some cash. So I think like having those ideas to bounce each other off of it, like really, it's like so beneficial, right? Because then like if you can tell your crazy idea to somebody else in the ecosystem, and they're like, "That's not bad," like then you're like, "All right," then you're more like you have more confidence in making that trade as opposed to like doing it by yourself all the time, because it's like you can only trust yourself so much, and it's like you're one person and you're not always gonna have the right idea,
yeah,
like, but if you could beat like the crowd and like you have an inner circle of people that you trust who are also in the ecosystem, and like they're usually like tend to like maybe they're not right on everything, but like they trend in the right direction, like then you could start to base ideas off of each other. Like the Dirt Birds thing was popping off, right? And I didn't listen to you for weeks, but I still was able to jump in at a time where I like still like made some cash, So it's like maybe you don't like that person's idea at first, but if you're open-minded enough to like eventually like jump on board, like you could still like make some cash, And then you also trust that person's opinion more and more, because it's like they're giving you alpha that like you're not seeing, and like this space is way too big to make all the right moves. Yeah, it's just there's so much going on, Yeah. So that's what's nice to have like and if you're watching, try to like get a tight crew of people.
Don't join an alpha group.
Don't join an alpha
make
group.
friends.
Find like like who have the same type of analysis that you have. Like that's what's kind of fun about reaching out on Twitter and throwing your ideas out there too, because the people who do connect with you, like maybe they have like really great ideas too. So it's always like kind of fun to throw yourself out there and talk to people and like try to get some DMs going. Or
I think it's also good, like if I'm really into something and then you're not, sometimes it's like, oh, well, maybe I'm too high on this, or like maybe other people don't see it the same way I do. So it's like good to, or like with Ore, you were really into it and I was just kind of like, whatever.
Well, you're not an anime guy, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, like to you, it's like this is not the thing, right?
Yeah. But like the more I looked into it and saw like other people were like super hyped about it, I was like, this is probably going to do really well. Like even though,
right, exactly.
And then you start looking at the art, and I was like, oh, it does look really cool. Like even though I'm not an anime guy, but like the color scheme and everything, it's like eye catching. So, but you were like dude, you got to get one. And I was like, I don't know. I'm going to wait it out. And I ended up buying it like higher than I could have, but it still
But you
worked
still
out.
got
So
on it, the train,
early.
right?
Yeah.
Because you were open-minded enough to understand that even if you don't like something, it's like you like making money, I
Yeah.
guess.
And you
You
can
know?
still be like late, but still profit, you know,
Yeah.
unless you're like by the very top. But it's hard to know what the top's going to be. I think it's funny. Last week we were talking about like, oh, is this the top? Because we're so euphoric right now.
Yeah.
And it pretty much was for like
Yeah.
probably for the next few weeks. So it's like that's another good thing, having like a little group you can bounce ideas off of. It's like if everyone in the group is like euphoric, it's probably like, hey, we should probably sell. Like this shit's
Like
getting too euphoric.
takes them off the
Yeah, like
table
take
at the
some
very
profit or
least.
something. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's
Um,
like the longer and longer we're in this game and you start to realize it's like cyclical and you're not going anywhere, because it's like I was thinking about that earlier where I was like, is there a number that I'll hit that I'll be like, I'm done with all of this?
right.
And it's like, I don't know about you, but for me, like I just kind of enjoy the whole space. Like, so even if I'm not like here 100% of the time, like I don't think I'll ever like not play around with most of this stuff and like participate, because it is pretty enjoyable. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like these are kind of my people. Like they're so like ironic, sarcastic, like really fucking smart people. And they're always like talking shit to authority and being like calling people out on their bullshit. It's just like kind of refreshing in a way to be
Yeah.
around people that like, even if you don't agree with all their opinions, it's kind of fun to see what's out there that's like so different and wild.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I think it's not about a number that I'll ever hit in my mind. It's more about if I can just kind of do this full time and like just be in the space full time, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's like a more realistic approach to it, as opposed to like trying to be like, this one trade's going to change my life. This one NFT is the one that'll me like $5 million, you know? Like, I
Yeah.
think like, while that's nice, like the idea of like that happening to me personally, statistically isn't like really high. So it's like, okay, let me just hit a couple triples, you know, maybe I'll hit a home run every once in a while, but like,
Yeah.
and that's fine. Like if you could do that a couple times a year, you're fucking set, you know, because like you're still increasing your overall income to a point where
Yeah.
it's like advantageous for you to like participate.
Yeah. And then like investing in projects that you like super long term, and just like if the project continuously builds, like sometimes you're not going to make everything back right away, but like sometimes you just want to support something, and it's
Yep.
almost like you're supporting this, you're investing
Small,
in this business. Yeah, like
small business. And it's like such a real, because you get to talk to the creator, you get to have that one-on-one with them, and it's like
Yeah.
you're an investor in their small business, and if it succeeds, you succeed, and that's fucking fun. I don't know, I'm sorry, like when a creator sells out on an NFT, it's so fucking cool. Like especially if it's a new person who
Yeah.
like now doesn't have to do a day job and can focus on this full time, and maybe they're really fucking great at it, and maybe they become like the next big fucking thing, you know?
Yeah.
And you made that possible because you invested. That's fun. I don't know. I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah, it's like everyone wants to dream about making like 1,000,000 ADA off one JPEG, but it's like it'd be cooler to be there from the beginning on a project and like be the one that helps it succeed. Like I feel like rather than just riding the wave up to 1,000,000 ADA, it's like,
right.
I mean, it'd be amazing for most people, but fulfilling, I don't know. But yeah, that got me thinking, like if you had an NFT that hit like 100,000 ADA, like could you even sell it? Like, you know, if you just had one, it would be so hard. because you get attached to that thing. And then you're like, well, if it got here, why would I sell it? You know?
But the cool thing about this ecosystem is that people think about what you just said and then make products for that idea. So it's like, now I can, like, if I want to borrow money against that NFT, I don't have to sell it. I can take out a loan against it. And then, like, if I really need that money, because then you start to think, okay, like, I can make some improvements on my house. I'll take out 10, 20 grand on the thing, you know, fix my basement or, you know, renovate, you know, one of my rooms. And then I still have the NFT, but it's still making my life better too.
Yeah.
You know? And then if that NFT keeps rising in price, you probably don't even have to pay back that, you know, if it's like that lucrative. And if it doesn't, like, whatever, like, as long as you pay back that loan, you don't lose the NFT. But
right.
I like the idea that that stuff's happening too, because yeah, you do get attached to some of these things and it's really hard to sell them. But that's why we always buy two. Not financial advice.
Always buy two. And then you don't feel like such an asshole for selling one.
Right.
Especially if it's in profit. But
I think that's important too, because like, then if you're like a small player like Eric and I, like, you could use that liquidity that you made to like keep increasing like the money flow, right? Like, it's important to like always have free like ADA on hand to keep making more moves. Like, if you don't, then you're kind of stuck in that trade. And that's kind of how you have to think about it. Like, you have to sometimes separate the emotion from the thing that you have, the asset. And even if like you're the biggest fan of the project, like, sometimes it's like, if you're so attached to it, like, when that price goes down, it does hurt, right? Emotionally.
Right.
So it's like, you need to be able to like hedge against it, like detach and like at least take some profit. So in your mind, it's like, okay, if this other NFT goes to zero, like, at least I made something, right? And it wasn't a total loss. So that's how my mindset is. I don't know. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I think it's just hard to sell NFTs sometimes, like, because you watch it climb to like a certain level and you kind of like, you might or might not realize it's the peak, but you want to see it if it can go any higher. And then by that time, like, by the time you're ready to list it, it's like exponentially falling, you know? And then you don't want to really sell it because you saw it go so high. But I think that's kind of a trap. Like, if you're going to sell it, you need to decide what a good selling point is and just sell it either on the way up, or like, you have to have like an idea of like what is a sign that you're going to sell it, whether it's like volume is slowing down or what. But and also it's hard to sell NFTs because like sometimes the volume dries up so much that like there's one or two buy orders every day, and it's like, unless you're way under the floor price, like, it's unlikely that they're gonna buy yours unless they really like how it looks or something. And then some people don't even buy the floor; they buy like a little above it because they like that one better. And
like, we noticed that a lot, where people, especially on like Tuesday or Wednesday when it was a free for all, people were just picking and choosing the traits that they liked in the NFT itself, as opposed to just buying whatever was on the floor. Right. And I think to me, that's like a really good sign that you're getting some really long-term holders. Right. So regardless of that first week, that first pump, like, the next one is probably going to be bigger. Like, that's how I look at it, because like, once people realize everyone's picked up like the ones that they wanted the most, then whatever's left is like, that's the supply for at least a while, like, until like that next point where you have heavy holders being like, I'm going to take some off here. I think a lot of people have a lot of confidence in this project to be bigger, just because it's not just a Cardano specific NFT, like this brand has a following on Instagram that's like over 120,000. So like you're bringing in this anime crowd of people who are just diehard anime people and they love the artwork. Once they find out that they can own a thing like an NFT from the actual artist, I think that's why you have so much volume already, because this might be one of those projects that brought a lot of people who weren't Cardano native people to begin with into the ecosystem and to become long-term holders too. So that's what I
Yeah.
like to see, like stuff like that where people were like really salty about the whole project to begin with. It's like, well, like they didn't even think about the idea that it's like you have to stop having the scarcity mindset when it comes to this stuff. You need to realize like the amount of people who are here now is so fucking tiny. You know what I mean? Like it's like
Yeah.
not even like a real world idea of like how many people can come into this ecosystem. It's like 10 people realizing that the internet's online, and then like, you know, in a couple of years you have like 100x
AOL.
that. Exactly. And so people are just coming to the realization, and it's like not that hard to get a like a smart contract wallet going. I think a lot of the holders of this project are coming from like outside of the ecosystem of like crypto Twitter or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna do really well. I think this is just the start. Like I would try to pick some up on the cheap as it goes down. Just you don't see that kind of fucking volume for sales like that fast. Like that's like when a rookie comes into the league and wins the Pro Bowl. You know what I mean? Like, you know, that kid's going to have like good potential. Like, and I think that's kind of how you have to look at these NFT projects, being like, that has a lot of potential. Like if it can do $3 million in sales or 3 million ADA in sales in 3 days, it's like, it's probably a good idea to hang on to one of them or like have some of the property. Like they also have those smaller collections. And then they also have like Ormob rings. Like, I really like what they're doing. Sorry, I'm like just going on.
No, keep going.
But also they're like trying to become like a Supreme type brand, which is really cool. And I love that idea where it's like they're not only doing NFTs, but they're doing clothing too. And the clothing's actually pretty dope. And I think it can do well. So like if they can really achieve what they're trying to, and I think they're like off to a fucking phenomenal start. And now that they had these sales, like they could actually feed their team, right?
Yeah.
They could pay people actual money to keep building shit. So like, if this is just the start, like they're doing great already. Like you kind of want a piece of this team, you know? It's like having a Supreme jacket or like all that shit that they would put their brand on, and all of a sudden it was selling like for $12,000 for a brick that says Supreme. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I see Ormob taking off, and like kind of like the direction they're going, where they're more of a brand with a name like Nike, as opposed to like this NFT is going to have utility. Like I'm sure they will have utility, but they're more concerned with making the name actually like really hot and like sexy and like cool and like mass media, you know, where it's like they want to be popular in Cardano, but they want to like zoom, like get everybody, which
Yeah.
I love that idea. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was going too far in the way of like everybody wanting utility and staking, and like this was kind of like going in the other direction of like we're all about the art, like, and we're not gonna pretend like we're about staking and all this stuff, because like at the end of the day it isn't like NFTs are supposed to be art. So like I have no problem with a project just being about the art as long as they're gonna tell you that. And it's like everyone's trying to figure out what the hell this is anyway. Like,
right,
you're allowed to experiment with different ways of, you know, getting a following and community and stuff like that. So I love it was crazy to see like all that volume, because like we just had that huge run on like every NFT, and then it kind of cooled down, but then this mint happened and you saw like all the liquidity go into this project, and it was like just a giant funnel, and everyone was just buying. And when I started noticing that, that's when I was like, all right, I don't want to. It reminded me of like Dead Rabbits.
Yes.
Like,
yeah, it's very
you
true.
just saw instant like success, and people were so excited, and it was visually like eye catching. So I just felt like it had all the traits you would want in like a future blue chip. So it was easy to. It was like a no brainer, you know.
Yeah.
So, but we saw it get to like 800 ADA, and now it's back down to like 620. So it's kind of cooled off. I don't know if it'll go on another run or if it'll just maybe like level out at like 500 and chill out for a while. But you never know. Like, we saw Mechanism overexposed, like kind of do the same thing, and then it just went down forever to like now it's like at 165, and it still really hasn't had that resurgence, but there's still like people buying it. So we'll see if it's like that or if it's like Dead Rabbits or if it's like Split World where it's goes to 10 ADA.
You know, like I usually watch the NFT creators YouTube interviews leading up to the mint if I'm excited about a project, because I really like to try to like flesh out my idea of like the human being behind the project, to be like, is this person going to stick around, or are they just like here for like a lottery ticket and then they're going to dip out? And with the Aura Mob team, they seem like more of a business as far as they have their shit together and they're really trying to make something bigger. And like they have a team of people who all have a job to do at the company to make this thing like get bigger. And I love seeing that because it means they have direction and they have an idea, and they basically are already a small business. So it's like with something like that, you understand that like they're going to keep building that product. Whereas like, and I should have known this like to jump, but like I like the artwork so much with Mechanism that I like, it kind of blinded me by the like the creator and his team, because it was very shoddy, and he was like on ETH, and then he came to Cardano because nobody was here, and he knew that he could make some money. But like when they would ask him any questions about like where it was going or like any future ideas about a roadmap, he really didn't have any ideas. Like he was just like making art, and he wanted to sell his art. And that's cool, that's fine. But it's like from somebody who was trying to invest in it to like seeing something bigger, like he didn't like, to me, he didn't have like a big plan behind his work. It was just like a college kid who was selling his artwork. He's like, I don't know, like if it sells, like cool, I can buy more shit. Like that's what it felt like. Whereas with Split World was here even earlier, and they were doing the same thing. Whereas like sell it, like this thing looks cool, I made it in my computer, and like I'll tell you what you want to hear until it doesn't sell anymore, kind of an idea.
Yeah, and we'll keep putting that carrot in front of you.
Like I bought a ton of them, and I wish I didn't, but at the same time, like we just like started playing with NFTs, and like you kind of know the risks, and you kind of have to get burned a couple times to know when not to get burned. And like for me, that was a really like great learning experience, like because it hurt, and at the same time I learned from it, and I know not to like follow. Like when I see an NFT project start that way, I get real apprehensive. So like to me, it's just like I just want to get better at finding the teams to really invest in as I go year after year after year. So I'm okay with that shit, because it's like, I don't know, I've been making better plays now than I did a year ago. And I just think it's one of those things that if you don't jump in with both feet, like you're never going to get really good. Because I think like this place is going to be here. To me, like I don't think NFTs are going anywhere. I think they're getting fucking massive. I think there's going to be a
Mhm.
ton of announcements by the end of the year by Cardano, Ethereum, like all these, like people love this shit, dude. Like you're seeing the Reddit NFT thing take off. Like people get it. Like don't use the word NFT, use digital assets or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
But people just like owning artwork. It's like so much fun. And then you tell somebody, hey, that artwork that you have is now worth $1,000. They're like, what? Like, I
Yeah.
just liked it because I like the artwork, and now I can sell it to somebody, make some money. Who doesn't like that? It's ludicrous, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's always kind of been there, like the interest, like people collect baseball cards and stuff like that for the rarity. And now you can just do it on the computer and you don't have to like go to someone's house and be like, hey, check out these cards. Do you want any? And we could
Yeah.
still have conventions and stuff. Like, I just think it's a lot more accessible. So it makes sense that more people would be into it.
It's so much cleaner, dude. It's so much cleaner when you think about it. And when you think about just the potential of like the whole thing, because like this might be fucking weird, but like I'm having a daughter, right? And like Eric and I were talking offline about like I'm probably gonna buy her like a Yummy Universe Naru because they're fucking cute, right? And also like I'm like I see it and like it's kind of fun because my wife's been wanting to do like walls on the wallpaper for like her room, you know? So it like works perfectly with that too. Where it's like, oh, you want a bunch of whales all over the walls? Like, well, let me get these stuffed whale Narus. Oh, by the
Yeah.
way, they're also tied to like my one of my favorite NFT collections. So it's like it becomes this holistic approach to like not only do I own the product that like my kid has, but also like I'm kind of making money off of it too, you know, in a weird way.
Yeah.
Whereas before I would just go to Toys R Us, buy some shit, and that company's just making money off of me. And I like there's no benefit for me on that end. It's just I'm purely consuming the thing, as opposed to now where it's like I'm part owner of the ecosystem that I'm buying the thing off of, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting.
It's a
It's like
different
I have this teddy
relationship.
bear, but I own the NFT that,
Yeah.
it's based off of or something. And if it does well, like you're like advertising it, like,
Yeah.
but you're helping yourself in a way, like
Yeah.
creating awareness about that brand.
Yeah.
And like, even my wife is like, I was like, oh, do you want me to buy this? Like, do you think this is cute? This little stuffed Naru? And she's like, oh my God, it's so cute. She's like, you should buy it. And I was like, okay. Like, and now we have the but it's just like, it's so appealing to everyone. Like, it's just cute. And like, that's some of the stuff we need too. It's like stuff with mass appeal, not just
Yeah.
like, you know, Ada waifus or something, like
Yeah.
something that's for more than just degenerates on Twitter.
Yeah, and I think this is that moment in time where like we get that crossover from just like people who live on the internet to like actual people and like who don't really give a shit about crypto or anything, but they like the product at the end,
Yeah.
and like the cool thing about Cardano is it's just a protocol to like work on the internet to create your own small business, and you're just using all these apps to make the thing that you like, whatever you can dream of, and I love
Yeah.
that idea. It's almost like creating a middle class economy for the world, because you don't have to live in a certain neighborhood to like create your business now, you know what I mean? Like it starts with
And people aren't
artwork.
judging you based off
Yeah.
of how you look or like where you're from. Like sometimes they don't even know that information.
Yeah.
But sorry, not to cut you off, but another thing I wanted to like mention is with these like NFT projects, it annoys me when like you put out this NFT project and then you like never communicate with your community. other than like putting out teasers every once in a while. Like I just don't understand
Name names,
that
Eric. Name
approach.
names.
I don't want to talk
I'm
shit
just
about.
joking. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You know who you are, but like, I just don't understand it. Like, unless you're really like rugging people, that's a different story. But if you really like are building in the background, like, why not just hire a social media person to just interact with people? Like Mars birds, like, I don't know. Like, I'm not a huge fan of the project, but they're always on Twitter, like always commenting on shit, like, and that keeps their community like interested.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
I know there's like a Mars bird on Ethereum. Is this the Mars bird community on Cardano? Or what am
I
I?
think that's like moonbirds.
Okay, but it's like a derivative.
It's like a
right?
derivative. Yeah.
Okay,
But I just think
they've offset and created their own community of people on Cardano.
correct.
Okay.
But I'm like, that sure, it's like a red flag, like a derivative project, but at least they're doing
No,
like
I just for my
social
own
media.
for my own mind. I was like confused.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know what you were talking about.
Oh okay. Yeah,
Because
it's
I was
like a
like,
smaller
isn't there
project.
like a thing on Twitter or like on Ethereum?
Yeah, or like FUD Buddies. Like it was all. It's like it's a joke.
Right.
They didn't
That
have
is
a
weird.
roadmap, but then all of a sudden, like their creators like starts putting together a roadmap, and now they're doing staking with Nemonium or Nemo Global, Nemo.global, and then all of a sudden everyone's interested in FUD Buddies when it was, just a meme. So I think like if you have a community and you keep them active, like that's your best asset. So if you just keep building and you ignore the community, like eventually the community is going to leave, and by the time you're done building, like they might not come back, even though you have some cool shit. Like they just don't care anymore,
Yeah.
But I just don't understand that. Like, how could you? I guess some people don't have that vision.
To me, it's like opening up a donut shop and ordering 12 donuts, and then you have the customers come in, buy the donuts, and you sell out, and you didn't think about making more donuts. You're just like, that was it, guys. Like you opened up a whole fucking store, a whole donut shop, and had 12 donuts, and that was it. Like when an NFT project just sells out that first mint, and then that's it, that they're done. It's like, that's how I feel. You know what I mean? Because it's like, you didn't think about like where your community is going to hang out to talk about this shit. Like, like where do you sell these things? Like, to me, you're starting to realize it's a holistic approach to like having a small business. It's like, you can't just come in here, sell one collection, and then not have a place for your community to go and talk about their NFTs that they just bought or what's next, or like, it's like you have to think about that. And for me to start investing into a project from here on out that doesn't have that shit together, I'm like, why would I do that when I can just go buy another NFT of a project that I'm already a part of? You know what I mean? Like when I have extra cash available, I'm not always looking for the new thing anymore. It's more about now I'm looking for who's building, like who has a fun team, and that's what was fun about Dirtbirds too, is like they had been around for a long time, and I had just never paid attention. Like I would visit their website sometimes because I was like, say what you will about the art, but their website was fucking killer. It really was. It was like, this is really fucking cool. Like minting Preds and shit.
Yeah.
With the dirt bags and stuff. I was like, this is really creative. It's fun. Like anything that tickles my creativity like that. That's when I should have invested, and that's when they were like under 200 ADA, I think. So, but it's like, you're not going to realize that until you're in the space and like playing with this shit. That's why you got to get your hands on a lot of these websites, go read their white paper, like see what products they have available. And like I said, go ahead.
That's the good thing about the bear market. It's like
Gives you
you
time.
learn all this shit,
Yeah.
without you're not losing and like losing everything like in a bull run. Like you might put all your ADA like, and maybe you have a lot more by then, and then it hurts so much more. But it's like you were just naive,
Yeah. It's so much
But
better, like as a like a way to like invest with the NFTs as opposed to before NFTs were a thing, because you would just basically trade on leverage and lose everything. Whereas now, at least, even if it's a rug, it's usually a slow rug, and you can get some of your fucking ADA back.
Right. And like those days of just staring at a chart and like hoping it goes up or down. Like, I mean, now we're just staring at a different chart, but like at least there's news and like you learn about this project. Like if you're just watching like Binance manipulate prices and trying to ride that, like good luck.
But that's what's fun about like Cardano finally having its ecosystem start to grow, is like it's not just Binance pumping a certain coin that day. It's like something is going on in the community. So it's like I'll watch Tab Tools, and if I see a certain NFTs token start to pop up, I like have to check their Discord, like go on Twitter, see what's going on.
It's like real price discovery as opposed to a bunch of bots like trading back and forth. Oh yeah. I think like I've also learned like I just don't want to. I'm kind of like almost over minting things anymore. I just, unless it's like something like Ore, that's like a home run. I just don't like minting. I think I'd rather.
Hot take.
Yeah. I just think there's like so many communities that are already established. It's easier to bank on one of those than try to jump on a brand new one. But I'll mint if it's like a project that I know, or like, a founder that has like done something in the past. But I think minting is just so risky. Like sometimes it's like all or nothing. So lately I really haven't minted much, unless it's like to support a new project that I like. But as far as like to try to make profit, it's so like all or nothing. I don't really like to do it as much anymore. And that's a hot take.
You know what I've been doing too is that I've really been enjoying is I've been noticing that anytime a certain project with a token, like their NFT collection starts to pump, their token also pumps too. So like a way to take less risk if you don't have, like if the project's like a clay or an ape, you don't want to put in 2,000 ADA. You don't want to put in 3,000 ADA. You can just buy some of the token and then ride that train up as well, because they tend to trend together, which is really interesting to me.
Yeah.
It's like, obviously a trend is a trend until it's not, and it's like once you start telling people this thing, it becomes common knowledge, and someone's gonna always like counter trade you. But like for now, at the time being, October 30th, like when an NFT pumps, their coin pumps too. And so it's like if you don't want to spend 3,000 ADA, you could buy a couple hundred ADA of the token, and you also feel like you're riding that train up as well.
And it's a little easier to get out quickly.
Well, if there's a pool available, like some tokens don't have pools.
You got to be careful with like smaller. If it's like a community pool that only has like 10,000 ADA, then it's a lot harder to trade on those, because you might create slippage with your own like big buy or sell order. So
yes.
But yeah, like Yummy or Makosi or Clay, like all ran after the NFTs ran, and it was like you started seeing that, and it was it's like an easy trade. But then once people figure that out, it's like, I don't know. You always have to be a step ahead because like people figure
100%.
that shit out, and then it's like, then it doesn't keep working.
Well, we were doing that with the a couple weeks back. We were talking about how we would watch MinSwap, their price discovery token thing,
Yeah.
where it was like if you buy the token before the yield farm would pop up, like chances are you'd catch a 10 to 15% move, which is pretty fucking nice. Like
Yeah.
minimum. Sometimes you get 50, which is
Yeah.
fucking sweet. But it stopped happening all of a sudden. So I think people like kind of figured that out and went the other way with the trade. So I don't know how they did that. I mean, maybe they're using ADA finance to short, but I ain't no smart Eric, so I can't do that.
Another thing I was thinking of is like just taking like 1,000 ADA and then buying like 100 ADA of like 10 smaller coins or like NFT coins or like stuff that hasn't pumped, and then just like some of them will go to zero, but like
something's gonna pop off.
Yeah, and maybe it's worth having like that smaller risk, I guess.
Well, I think you're seeing that with Husky token right now.
Yeah,
like you knew it was gonna happen.
You just didn't know when.
But yeah.
And I never wanted to put money into it. Like
I
got like the drip drops one, but
yeah. But also they had a faucet at the beginning, the very beginning. And I have some of that. I don't even know how much I have, but it's like I don't even look at it because I'm just like, I'll just kind of keep it forever because I think it's going to be one of those Dogecoin things.
Yeah.
In 5 years where it's just a joke, but some asshole decides to pump it for no reason. And then it goes up like 1,000,000x. So it's like, I'll just hang on to it for fun.
Like almost a guarantee that it will happen at some point, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like people love the meme tokens for some reason.
It's the weirdest thing in human psychology, but you're seeing it with like Doge and Shiba Inu. It's weird. It's like somebody makes it into an existence and then all of a sudden it's like it becomes reality one day and you're just like, it's the stupidest play in the world, but it always works. You just don't know time-wise.
Yeah.
Like I heard about people talking about Doge since like 2014. And it was always a fucking joke.
Mm-hmm.
But then here we are, like how many years later, 6, 7 years, and it's like insane amounts people have made off of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why that is, but I think it's just like people like they're like creating like a satirical version of reality where like these things that are nonsense make you millionaires, and it's like you want that to be a reality, so like you throw some money at it and 100,000 other people do the same thing, and it's like, oh, now someone's
now it happened. Yeah. It's so weird. And it's like you think you're being smart by not diving into it, but it's like everybody knew. And like a lot of people are still salty about not jumping on the Doge bandwagon. Like,
yeah. The same thing happens with NFTs. Like you see these like stupid projects that come out of nowhere and you're like, that'll never sell. And then it's like 10x'd and you're like, I should have just bought one just to see what happens.
I think that's like, you have to like counter trade yourself. You're like, if something hits you in the feels in a negative aspect, buy it. Like, because it's like that. What is that? Like, either love me or hate me, but like at least you feel some type of way about me. You know, like if you have that type of mentality about NFTs as well, Like that's probably a good thing too, because I've definitely felt that. Sometimes you'll see something like the Tooligans thing. This thing, I hate the name. I hate this name. I don't know why.
I was
It's like
literally, when I
super
said that,
cheesy.
I was thinking of that project. I was like, I saw it the other day and I was like, what is this shit? It looks so
Get this
stupid.
off my top 10. But maybe that's a signal to buy then now.
But I guess it's like CNFT tools and like a World Cup. It's like a World Cup NFT. So then it made sense why people were buying it. But I just don't like projects that like you reveal it later. Like I don't get that. Like people want to see what they're buying. You know, people aren't going to buy into it unless they can see it.
I think it's like the space is still so young, and a couple projects have tried to do that before with a little success. I mean, obviously it's working, but what is it going to stop people from selling your project? Probably not. Like you're seeing them all
No.
over. Like people are selling them.
People will flip no matter what. Like
They're gonna flip anything. Like it doesn't matter what you do.
they'll sell at a loss quicker than you can, you know, rug your project, you know.
Right. But a lot of these people are smart too. Like a lot of those people who like people make fun of for selling like less than is like they're looking at it from a total liquidity standpoint where they're probably buying 20 or 30 of these NFTs, and if they get a one of one, it makes up for the rest of those that they sold, you know? So
Yeah.
they might lose a
I
couple
mean, they're
thousand
not
ADA, but
idiots. Yeah.
so it's like you don't know who you're up against sometimes too. Like I never think I'm the smartest person in the room, you know? And so I'm always trying to like think how they can game the system. So it's like with that Tooligans thing where you're not seeing the artwork, you're just buying the thing itself. It's like true market discovery. So it's like you're probably buying a bunch of them at the same time just to sell them at a higher price.
Yeah.
That's like strip all the artwork out of it, you know? That's like
yeah. But it
trading
kind of
tokens.
strips some of the excitement too.
Yeah, like it's you're not gonna entice people who are like wanting to use it as a PFP or something or
Yeah. But everyone's trying different stuff to get your money, you know. So more power to them, I guess.
yeah.
Do you think Charles said something about there's some big news and like he's going to reveal in mid-November? Do you have any predictions of like what that could be?
Yeah, like there's been this rumor about BMW using the chain as like a decentralized ID for their BMWs that come out in the future, which is a really smart idea. And the rumor is that they'll be using Cardano for that. If that's the announcement, that's pretty sweet. I think it'll do numbers. But also, like, from what I've know about Charles, like his idea of an announcement that's like interesting and cool is usually based around mathematics in general. So it'll probably be like some paper that comes out that it's like, hey, we figured out the Mithril protocol, or we got the next step in what is it, that second layer that we have that's like lightning.
Hydra
heads, yeah, exactly. Like we figured out the tails protocol for the heads that can connect. I could see it being that
like,
too.
Oh
Yep. And
really?
it's gonna no, it's like cool, but it's always like you're not like, whenever he releases that stuff, you never see the true potential of the thing for another 5 years. So it's like,
right.
It's not really like something I get super excited about, because it's
Not
like you have to
sexy.
wait for the end product of it. Like no one's really using Hydra heads, and the only person that is Sunday Swap. They're making their head protocol, which makes transactions like ridiculously fast. But
Mm-hmm.
it's almost to the point where if you're trading on an exchange right now, no one's really complaining about the speed. Unless you're like doing like your professional trader, in which you're probably waiting for Axo anyways.
Yeah.
We haven't seen like professional grade DeFi on Cardano yet. And that'll be a different beast altogether.
Yeah. Sometimes you look at the volume on like a token and you're like, it hasn't sold in like a week or something. And you're like, how can you trade when there's no volume at all? Like I'm the only single. So that'll be helpful, I think. We can get, sometimes you need some of that, but
what do you think it's going to be?
I don't know, because I also have seen like a few NFT creators that were like, I just got off a meeting, and like there's some super exciting stuff coming to Cardano, like not just related to my project, but just like the whole ecosystem. So I don't know what that could be, if it's like a celebrity or if it's like a big company that's going to be doing NFTs. But I don't know. I hope it's like Samsung is gonna, put it on all their phones or something like adoption wise. That would be huge. But we shall see. I guess. I mean, the DirecTV thing last year was pretty cool. So
yeah,
or Dish Network. I mean, so something like bigger than that would be expected, but who knows?
I've been like trying to look around to see, like, you almost need to handheld these companies into coming into Web3. Like, what did Polygon do to get Reddit NFTs on their platform?
Yeah.
They probably like, did you buy one?
No.
Did you even look it up to see what the process would be? Was it hard?
I didn't even look into it because I was like, I'm already late. I don't care. Like,
yeah, me too.
And when I've used other ecosystems, I don't know, just doesn't appeal to me as much. Like anytime I have to go through like a layer 2, it's like
not a good experience.
Like I have to transfer to ETH and then into like Polygon. I don't like gas fees, even though they're low. It's just kind of annoying. So, and I know I'm not going to hold. Yeah. Yes, I don't like that. I did.
No, fuck it.
I bought a couple AVAX NFTs, and their process was pretty good, but I just like Cardano, like philosophy wise. Like I don't really see eye to eye with the other chains as much. So it's not as fun to play in their ecosystem. I just feel like I'm helping some VC like gain adoption,
Yeah. That's how I've been feeling about that Aptos project too. Like everyone keeps talking about it. Everyone's just like, just buy it. Just buy it. Sam's going to pump it. Just buy it. Because it's like the ex-Facebook developers who are making it. And so it's all VC money. It's like 80% VC money,
Yeah.
So you're a piggy. You're gonna get fucking slaughtered, but you might be able to make a 10% off of it or something or more. But to me, it's like I'd rather, like, I'm already here. I set up shop in Cardano. Let me just find that 10x project here and just sit on it or whatever, interact with the community.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to have to go learn a whole new setup, get a whole new wallet, have another seed phrase to remember.
Yeah.
And then I haven't done any research on this stuff, and I don't know if they could just, if it's even pointless for me to have a wallet, because they could just confiscate whatever I fucking own on that wallet anyways,
Right.
something
Yeah.
happens. It's not appealing to me. It's like, I feel like we've already evolved past that on Cardano, and it's like on to the next thing where we have all that stuff situated. It's decentralized enough where I know like no one's going to take anything out of my wallet. And now I can focus on just like the next protocol thing.
I just think it's good that people are more accepting of Cardano lately. Like, it's not just it's not a meme or like a shit coin. Like, if you buy a Cardano NFT, like, people aren't really making fun of you anymore.
Yeah,
like
6 months ago.
You like that chain? Like, that's cool. Yeah. So I think once NFTs are more mainstream, like, it'll be one of the top 5,
Yeah.
and that'll increase adoption. But yeah.
Let's leave it there, Eric. I think that's a good place.
Chat. Very philosophical.
I think we're in a good place. I think Cardano's like pumping. Obviously, you should be on the fucking bandwagon. I think we get a nice little fourth quarter pop till December. And like a lot of these smaller assets are going to go off too. We're seeing a nice continuation with Bitcoin. And I think if that continues next week, like altcoins and Cardano native tokens are going to pop too. So it'll be a fun week,
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see you guys next week to talk about it.
Later.